I just watched a movie last night.
You did?
Woman of the Year.
Is that good? What is that?
It's really good. Anna Kendrick stars in it, and she directed it.
Oh.
She did a really good job. I have to say, she did a really good job. Isn't that what it's called? 2024, yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Woman of the Hour. Did I say year? It's Woman of the Hour. My bad. Woman of the Hour. It's on Netflix. So it's based on a real story. And the real story is that sometime in, I think in the 70s, that the dating game, which was where a woman would sit normally as like the featured person of the show, and she would ask questions to three men behind a partition. And, like, if we were to go out on a date, where would you take me?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
It was fun.
And then the three guys would give their answers. And at the end of the show, the woman would be like, I choose bachelor number 2. Like it was that kind of show. And this really happened where in whatever year this was, sometime in the 70s, I think, one of the participants was a guy who was eventually discovered to be a serial killer. And he won. He was the one.
She was charmed by him?
Well, I think, they take some liberties in how it goes, but like the three, the way it's portrayed, I don't know if it's actually this way. One guy was a dum-dum. The other guy was kind of a douchebag. And then this guy was sort of of the three, the one who gave the most, I guess, charming or answers that just kind of made her go like, yeah, that's a good answer, like that kind of thing. It was just like inoffensive, like he just kind of played it right. In reality, I know that in looking it up, the what's the guy's name? I think it's Rodney
Alcala.
Rodney Alcala. So in reality, the woman who chose the guy said that like the date that was then, because they give you a prize, like
he's cute.
Yeah,
she lucked out.
Yeah, well, it looks like they could have killed up as many as 130 women. But Alcala, she met him obviously like on the show and said that he was so off-putting that she just didn't go on the date.
Wow.
Yeah,
She sensed it.
She sensed
straight
something
away.
was off about the guy.
Well, I like how casting wasn't put off by him.
Yeah.
So they never went out on their date.
They never went out on their date.
So that's the whole movie?
Well, the movie, I don't want to give away the movie. The movie depicts them meeting and then kind of her spending a little time with him that night. And then her being, but first of all, her directing of like how this story is told was phenomenal. The violence in the movie of him being the serial killer was so well done. Like in a terrifying way. She really nailed it. I thought it was really good.
Well, this sounds like a movie right up your alley. A serial killer, lots of violence, love. Yeah. You also love stories. You and I love The Millionaire Matchmaker.
Yeah.
This movie apparently has all Tom Segura's favorite elements.
Yeah. This guy was a real goofball, this Rodney Alcala guy. But she really, she did a great job.
She's
and
great.
She was
talented.
great as the actress as well. She really portrayed it well. So highly recommend it. I also saw Lake George. I went to a screening of Lake George, which is a new movie starring Shea Whigham and Carrie Coons. And it was really, really good. Like a neo-noir take about these two who are both kind of midlife fuck-ups who are basically thrown into a situation where they have to participate in some criminal activity. And it's a really cool movie. I highly recommend checking it out.
Shea Whigham is in the Mission Impossible movies, if you guys don't know who he is. Good. And he's such a talented actor. It's ridiculous. Very cool. Wow, look at us. Watching stuff, making stuff happen.
Really good, man. Now, some other things have happened. I think we should get into some of them.
Oh, my God.
In the time that we have not been here. First of all, two infamous goofballs, the Menendez Brothers. In the time that
about these guys.
A couple things have come out. There's the Menendez Brothers narrative scripted story, like an 8-9 part thing I think Ryan Murphy did that's on Netflix, which is really good. He does That's his wheelhouse. He did the Dahmer one. He did the Versace one. He did the OJ one. Those like monster, like
all
I think
your
it's called
favorite
Monster.
stuffs. Yeah.
So it depicts that, and then at like a week or two later, they released the documentary, which is Jesus Christ. Is it? There's this thing about when you watch documentaries about things that happen in your life, but that are 20, 30 years earlier, you forget. Like even when I watched The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan thing, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this era. And then you're watching it and you're like, I don't remember like all these details, like I just watched the Lance Armstrong story and I was like, yeah, I remember the Lance Armstrong story. But when you get the insight into the story, it's really like fascinating. Mm-hmm. I did not recall so much about the Menendez Brothers story, and it is fucking
cool.
It is so difficult to get through that doc. Because
but that's why we got to release these guys back out in the world. We feel bad for them.
No, the stuff that I'm talking about is the child abuse
that
they were victims. Like here's something that's very telling. When you watch the documentary about the Menendez, for those that are unaware, the Menendez brothers quite famously were convicted of murdering their parents. They were Beverly Hills rich kids that their father was very, very successful businessman. A movie producer. He ran Hertz at one point. Like he was very, very high level executive, and they murdered their parents in 1989, and were convicted of it in '96, so many years later. It was a crazy, crazy thing in our culture. If you weren't alive at the time or don't recall it, and then it's one of those things that they've always been a reference in our lifetime of like rich kids, entitled, and obviously for eliminating your family. And so the story came back and you're like, oh, I remember the Menendez Brothers story. And then you watched it and you're like, oh my God, like I don't remember all this shit. You watch the doc and you realize how abused these guys were. But this is my point. There's this one part in the documentary where they're interviewing the prosecutor. The prosecutor who's like, these guys are fucking psychos. Like it was a pleasure to put them behind bars. At one point in the interview with the prosecutor, she says, well, I will say this about their father. Their father, who was murdered by them. She goes, the day he died, the world became a better place.
Oh, wow.
They couldn't find that woman right there on the left. They couldn't find one person to be a character witness about the father during the trial.
Yeah.
Not one person was willing to say a nice thing about him. She's like, he was a horrible piece of shit. About the victim of a murder. It's pretty telling that she actually says that. She was like, yeah, he was a fucking horrific human being. That being said, here's the update for those that don't know. LA District Attorney George Gascon recently announced a recommendation to re-sentence Eric and Lyle Menendez, who were convicted for the 1989 murders of their parents. The decision could allow the brothers, who have spent 34 years in prison, a chance at parole. Gascon cited recent findings that under today's understanding of trauma and abuse, their claims of enduring years of sexual abuse by their father would have been taken more seriously. A new sentencing proposal set at 50 years to life would make them eligible for immediate parole due to their age at the time of the crime. The potential resentencing has sparked mixed emotions. Many family members and advocates, including attorney Mark Garagos, support the recommendation, highlighting the brothers' efforts toward rehabilitation. However, some families members, like Kitty Menendez's brother, still believe the original life sentence is justified. So that's in the news, and of course, Kim Kardashian's involved.
Is she?
She is. She's become an advocate for their release.
There's so many. I mean, look, this isn't a black and white issue. Obviously, there's so much gray zone. How old were they at the time they committed these crimes?
19 and 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
But look, here's my initial instinct is like so many people are molested and abused by their parents. That doesn't mean you take shotguns and blow away your mom and dad. Like, there's other things to do, like contact the police, child services. Like, there's a million other things they could have done. So I do worry about their lack of proper judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a pretty gnarly thing.
It was really gnarly and extensive.
Yeah, and I get they were abused. Like, I know. I had to stop watching the Netflix series as much as I love Chloe Sevigny and the guy that plays the dad is Javier Bardem. I love him.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I can't take child abuse. Like, ugh. Anyway, well, thanks for sharing that story.
You like that?
Any other murder or serial killing we can talk about before we move on?
I'm sure there's plenty.
Oh, there is one special someone.
Yeah. There's some other big stories that have come about since we've been doing our thing and stuff like that. One of them is that the one and only Garth Brooks, some of you know him as a very famous country music singer.
Never heard of him.
He has come under serious scrutiny because of very serious allegations. And here is what is going on.
Let the conversation begin.
Garth Brooks is facing serious allegations from a former makeup artist. She worked for them for over 15 years, claims that he subjected her to multiple instances of sexual assault.
Jesus.
2019, the accuser details disturbing incidents, including an alleged assault where Brooks held her upside down by her ankles. Other accusations include inappropriate advances and explicit comments that reportedly continued despite her objections. In response, by the way, she also claimed that he assaulted her at the Beverly Hills Hotel and then went to the Grammys, like right after that. Like
That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, I got to go now.
Yeah.
That is a nice hotel.
In response, Brooks has firmly denied the claims, labeling them as fabricated attempts at extortion. He claims the accuser demanded hush money, and the allegations are aimed at harming his reputation. As part of his defense, he released the accuser's name in court documents, a move that has drawn public criticism. He asserts this disclosure was necessary to fully defend himself. Additionally, Brooks had recently listed one of his properties for sale, a decision some sources speculate could be related to the ongoing legal battle.
I really like that.
His legal team maintains the allegations are opportunistic. She goes into great detail, probably more detail than we'd want to read on this show. But if you are up for it, you can Google the makeup accuser, the makeup artist's accusations, and they are in real detail in the court documents, and you can see exactly what she is accusing him of. And I leave it up to you if you want to weigh in on what happened.
Excited, scared, nervous, all the good things.
What about the deposition? Can you talk about that a bit?
No, I can't talk about that.
Not even a little bit.
No. What I feel like I should say is that you really should, in this case, just let this take its course. That's the right thing to do, honestly. G is G, and he, this is obviously a very serious thing. And I feel like the right thing to do, because I don't really know, is to let
I feel like you do know.
the courts do their thing and let this take its natural course. And we will hopefully have much more to say after it plays out.
So special, so rare.
I mean, it is wild that
It's pretty wild.
we've been, calling it for a minute, guys. This is not news to us.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Wowzers.
Ooh, hey James, did you enjoy that highlight? Why don't you have one more click of fun around here? I don't know. Click here or here. Try it out. Have more fun. Why don't you subscribe? That way, every time a video drops, you can be notified. You can send it to your grandmother. You're not going to miss a moment of denim, okay? Try it out.
Denim, pull your jeans up, subscribe.